The way we grow most of our food is actually a massive, high stakes gamble. So today, we're going to dig into why that is, and we're going to explore a much more resilient path forward, one that's all about working with nature, not fighting against it. Just think about that for a second. Your entire year's income, everything you and your family depend on, all riding on one single thing. No backup, no safety net, kind of stressful, right? Well, for a huge number of farmers all over the world, that's not just some thought experiment. That's just life. It's the reality of a system called large-scale monocropping, which has pretty much become the default for how we do modern agriculture. And it really is an all-in bet. In this first part, we're going to break down exactly why putting all your eggs in one basket, or, all your seeds in one field, can be such a ridiculously risky strategy. So this really lays out the gamble perfectly. The system itself sounds simple, right? Just plant one thing everywhere. But wow, look at the risks. A single type of pest could come through and just decimate your entire harvest. The market price for that one crop could crash, and poof, there goes your income. Not to mention, planting the same thing over and over just sucks the nutrients out of the soil. And of course, one bad storm can literally flatten everything. It's a system that's just incredibly fragile. So that brings us to the real question here. If that high-risk approach is the problem, what's the alternative? How can we actually create farming systems that are good for nature and give people a much more secure way to make a living? Well, the first solution is all about creating what you could call a diversified safety net. It's basically the farmer's version of that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And this approach has a name. It's called diversified farming, or sometimes intercropping. So instead of a giant field of just corn, you're looking at a field where maybe corn, beans, and squash are all growing together, side by side. The benefit for the farmer is immediate and it's huge. If a pest that absolutely loves corn sweeps through, well, your beans and squash might be totally fine. If a hailstorm damages one type of plant, the others might survive. This all leads to a way more stable income. And what's really cool is that the plants can actually help each other out. Some might naturally repel pests that bother their neighbors, while others add nutrients back into the soil. It builds a healthier, more resilient farm from the ground up. Okay, our second example builds on that idea. It draws a really clear, direct line between the health of the land and the health of a farmer's bank account. We're talking about sustainable oil palm farming. Now, hold on, this is not the massive industrial scale version that you might have heard about. This is a totally different method where farmers work within the existing landscape. They don't just clear-cut huge swaths of forest. Instead, they intentionally leave and maintain wildlife habitats right there on their land. So why would a farmer do this? Well, by not clearing the forest, they're protecting their single most important asset, the soil. Healthy, nutrient-rich soils mean better, more consistent harvests, not just for 1 year, but for the long term. And better harvests, you guessed it, mean more income. Plus, that healthy ecosystem provides all these amazing free services, like protecting the farm from soil erosion and even floods. Now, our final example takes this idea of working with nature even further. Here, we're looking at the forest not just as something to preserve alongside a farm, but as the direct provider for an entire community. This is a concept known as customary forests. In this system, local communities don't plant a farm instead of the forest. They essentially manage the forest itself as their farm. They use this incredible wealth of knowledge passed down through generations to cultivate and harvest a huge variety of plants that are already a natural part of that ecosystem. And the benefits here are just profound. This system provides a stable and incredibly diverse supply of food. If one plant has a bad year, there are dozens of others to rely on. The healthy forest acts as a natural water filter, ensuring access to clean water. It provides materials for building, for medicine, for daily life, and crucially, it holds the land together, protecting whole communities from things like devastating landslides. It's a system of truly deep resilience. So we've just looked at 3 pretty different approaches, right? You've got intercropping, sustainable palm oil, and customary forests. Now let's connect the dots and look at the powerful pattern that's starting to emerge here. The common thread, the big idea that links all of these stories is this. By working with nature's complexity instead of trying to bulldoze it into a simple single-crop system, these farmers and communities build a powerful buffer. They're just better protected from all the things that can go wrong. The pests, the storms, the unpredictable market swings. And this table just sums it all up perfectly. Each practice is different, but look at the tangible, critical benefit each one delivers to people. For diversified farming, the big prize is a stable income. For sustainable oil palm, it's improved harvests year after year. And for customary forests, It's literally the foundation of life: food, water, and safety. And this, right here, is probably the most important insight of all. Being a good steward of the environment, it isn't a sacrifice. It's actually a really smart strategy. These approaches prove that a healthy ecosystem and human prosperity aren't two separate things in conflict with each other. They're deeply, deeply connected. They go hand in hand. But that does leave us with a pretty fascinating final question to chew on. These systems are clearly more resilient, but are there trade-offs? And is there one single approach that really works best for absolutely everyone involved? For the farmers, for the local communities, and for all the other plants and animals that call that ecosystem home? Something to think about.